Good evening, I'm Russ Mitchell. Yet another day of deadly bombings in Iraq, and this time, American civilians are among the victims. We'll take a look at why there's been a surge in violence, and we'll have these stories.
Tensions are high between Vladimir Putin and President Bush. I'm Bill Plant with the president, and I'll tell you why.
The Vatican forces out the editor of an American Catholic magazine. Does this signal a new get tough attitude by the new pope? I'm Kelly Coviella with that story.
They may just be the worst team money can buy. I'm Alexis Christoforous at Yankee Stadium, where George Steinbrenner's best bet may not be his last place Yankees, but a racehorse named Bellamy Road.
This is the CBS Evening News with Russ Mitchell.
It has been a fast-moving, very busy, deadly day in Iraq. 22 people, including 2 Americans, were killed in Baghdad in 2 suicide car bombings. In Karma, 50 miles west of Baghdad, a U.S. Marine was killed by a bomb in combat. This all comes in the same day Iraq's new Shiite-majority government announced Sunni Arabs are expected to be named to the important posts of Deputy Prime Minister and Defense Minister. More now from Mark Strassman in Baghdad.
Visible clear across Baghdad, the towering column of smoke signaled another calamity, another deadly suicide attack. A convoy of contractors was moving through a crowded commercial square. A pair of car bombers lay in ambush. One struck from the front, the other from the rear. Through the bedlam, the human toll quickly mounted. 2 Americans were killed, along with 20 Iraqi bystanders. Dozens more were hurt, including 5 elementary school girls passing through in this minibus. Look what they did, this man said angrily, holding a book bag. In just 9 days since Iraq's new government took power, insurgent attacks have killed nearly 300 people. At this Baghdad morgue, grieving Iraqi families claim the bodies of 14 young farmers found shot and buried in a garbage dump. These Sunni Arabs blamed Shiite guerrillas, the latest in a series of random and reprisal killings across Iraq by both sects. So with all the other mayhem, another worry for the U.S.-led coalition is a country that, day by day, edges toward a possible civil war.
Here in Baghdad, the menace of these senseless attacks is getting worse, not better. By one Iraqi intelligence estimate, at any one time, insurgents have 70 car bombs ready for targeting. Russ?
Mark, is anyone telling you there that they believe the naming of Sunnis to some of these cabinet positions will in fact help curtail the violence?
Well, no question, Russ. Much of this insurgency is Sunni-led, and many Sunnis until now have felt left out of the new government. But remember, there are so many different groups here involved in the insurgency with so many agendas, some of them competing, and some of them are just absolute extremists. The new government may help, but for many of these groups, the jihad will go on.
Mark Strassman in Baghdad. Thank you. Judging success in the battle against the Iraqi insurgency is often a matter of perspective. Here's what Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Richard Myers, had to say on April 26th.
I'm going to say this. I think we are winning, okay? I think we're definitely winning. I think we've been winning for some time.
Earlier today, I spoke with retired Army Colonel and CBS News consultant Mitch Mitchell and asked him about General Myers' statement that the U.S. is winning in Iraq.
It might be a fair statement if winning constitutes training the Iraqi government forces, the security forces, the police forces to take over the job we're doing. If winning constitutes defeating the insurgents or defeating terrorism in Iraq, we are not winning. We have no chance of winning. We know that, and we have to change our strategy.
Colonel Secretary Rumsfeld says there is basically a small number of insurgents. What do you think about that statement? Is he correct?
Well, I think we have to look at the big picture. First of all, I say that's absolutely incorrect. It misrepresents the facts in Iraq. And the facts are that there are certainly a number of insurgents, well-armed, ready to attack, maybe as much as 20,000. But behind them, maybe millions of people who are not willing to go up against the insurgents or who are simply in support of them passively. And then you add to that parts of the population who are actively supporting the insurgents, and you can have an effort of millions of people. That's the point that's not made out there.
CBS News consultant Colonel Mitch Mitchell, thank you very much.
Thank you, Russ.
President Bush is traveling across Europe tonight on the eve of the 60th anniversary of Nazi Germany's defeat. Opponents of the Iraq War protested the president's arrival in Amsterdam tonight. Earlier, at a stop in Latvia, Mr. Bush had harsh words for the former Soviet Union, a U.S. ally during World War II. White House correspondent Bill Plant is traveling with the president.
President Bush hailed the new Baltic democracies on Russia's doorstep today, a message he knows will anger Russia's President Putin.
I think countries ought to feel comfortable with having democracies on their borders. After all, democracies are peaceful countries. I mean, democracies don't fight each other.
Mr. Bush also spoke pointedly of the legacy of the Second World War, 50 years of brutal Soviet occupation for the Baltic nations.
The end of the Second World War meant peace, but in the Baltics it brought occupation and communist oppression. We recognize your painful history.
That kind of blunt talk has added new strains to the relationship between Mr. Bush and Putin. Again today in Moscow, Putin hailed the Red Army as the liberator of Eastern Europe, not its oppressor. And he has accused the Baltic states of collaborating in Hitler's Holocaust. The Russian president's view of history troubles Latvian newspaper editor Paul Redseps.
Nazi Germany had to be defeated. But we would expect that the Russians would also understand that the system that did that was not a good system, that Stalinism was evil.
President Bush, by beginning this trip in Latvia and ending it next week in Georgia, a new democracy which has ongoing disputes with Moscow, is sending a pointed reminder to Russia. Free nations require some basic conditions.
Freedom of worship, freedom of the press, economic liberty, the rule of law, and the limitation of power through checks and balances.
Mr. Bush's warnings that Russia is wandering from the path of democracy are pointed, but he also has a problem. He needs to continue to get Russia's cooperation. Russ?
Well, the timing on this is rather interesting. Any indication as to why the president is speaking out on this so strongly right now?
A balancing act, Russ. He has to honor the contribution that the Russians made to ending World War II without seeming to endorse the takeover of Eastern Europe, which followed it. So it's a tough act.
Bill Plant in the Netherlands. Thank you so much. There are indications today that there are no changes on the horizon for the Catholic Church. Pope Benedict XVI confirmed he will follow John Paul's tough stance against abortion and euthanasia. And there was another sign today. The new pope means business. Kelly Kobiea has more.
As Benedict XVI took the last formal step to becoming pope today, he made clear the Roman Catholic Church is not changing direction, saying the watering down of church teaching is not up for debate. But debate is exactly what Father Thomas Reese fostered as editor-in-chief of the Catholic weekly magazine America on such sensitive issues as homosexuality and abortion. Friday, he announced he's stepping down, and it seems to be under pressure from the Vatican's Office of Doctrinal Enforcement, once headed by Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, now Pope Benedict. In his last editorial in the April 25th issue of America, Reese wrote, "A church that cannot openly discuss issues is a church retreating into an intellectual ghetto." The Jesuit scholar was a prominent voice in the coverage of Pope John Paul II's death and the conclave that followed, talking to CBS newsman John Roberts in Rome about the possibility of Cardinal Ratzinger becoming pope.
He is a polarizing figure in the church, no question.
Yeah, no question.
The Vatican has not commented, but those familiar with the conflict say it wasn't the issues that brought Reese's downfall, but the fact that his magazine dared to debate them. Is it fair to say that Father Reese was forced out?
I think it's absolutely fair.
Peter Steinfels writes a column on religion for the New York Times and says Reese's ouster could silence the moderate voices within the church.
This question of whether the center can hold in American Catholicism, whether there can be well-informed discussion of these controversial issues is very important. And that's really what Father Reese and the magazine offered.
A man Father Reese recruited to the magazine will take over as editor-in-chief in June. And while he praised his predecessor, it seems likely that there will have to be a change in the magazine's editorial policy. Russ?
Kelly Kobiea, thanks a lot. Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, did one man go too far in his dealings with alleged drug dealers in his neighborhood?
Oh, hey, hi, I'm Digger. Don't mind me, I'm just a dermatophyte. You know, a nail infection. All I want is to get in here and live under your nail. You can't get me with clippers or those surface treatments you try on your own. I'm in too deep in your nail bed. I'll make myself comfortable, invite a few friends. Settle in.
Do you have thick, discolored, or flaky nails? Millions of people do. It may be caused by an active live infection. That's why you should ask your doctor about prescription-only Lamisil. Unlike surface treatments, Lamisil is a pill that works through the bloodstream to target and attack the infection at its source, underneath the nail. In fact, you can start to see clearer, healthier nails in just 3 months. Lamisil isn't for people with liver or kidney problems. In rare cases, serious side effects in the liver or serious skin reactions have occurred, so your doctor may do a simple blood test. Other side effects, including headache, diarrhea, indigestion, and rash, were generally mild. Ask your doctor about Lamisil. Once daily Lamisil tablets. Get your nail infection where it grows.
Got an itch? Scratching tears up skin. Maximum Strength Lanacaine saves your skin from scratching with maximum anti-itch medicine and antibacterial to help kill germs. Lanacaine stops the itch, saves your skin.
Why is Ortho season-long grass and weed killer better than the leading brand? Because it doesn't just kill existing weeds, it prevents new weeds from growing all season long. So you don't spend the entire season killing weeds. Ortho season-long.
They have big hearts, big personalities, big friends, and big egos. But they have small mouths. So we created a new food just for them. Introducing Pedigree Small Breed with smaller, easier to crunch kibble and everything else small dogs need.
We look all right?
Well, I take pain medicine for my arthritis.
She takes it every day.
I didn't know it could put me at risk for stomach ulcers.
She didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know either.
If you take certain pain medications on a continuous basis and you're 60 or over, you may be at risk for a stomach ulcer.
I didn't want to give up my pain medicine, so my doctor...
Dr. Wagner is a very smart man.
...prescribed Nexium.
To take with her pain medicine.
For people at risk, one prescription Nexium pill a day can help reduce the chance of a stomach ulcer caused by certain pain medications.
My doctor did say that headaches, diarrhea,
and abdominal pain
could be side effects of Nexium.
Talk to your doctor and find out if Nexium, the purple pill, is right for you. For a free trial offer, call 1-800-79-NEXIUM or visit us online.
Now she doesn't worry so much about ulcers. It's nice.
If you're without prescription coverage and can't afford your medications, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
A 70-year-old mystery is exposed with a secret no one wants to tell.
My family doesn't know.
You chased her off a bridge. What's that mouth? A new cold case tomorrow.
California has become the first state to move to curb steroid use among high school athletes by approving 3 new regulations that take effect this fall. One rule requires athletes, parents, and coaches to sign contracts promising to avoid steroids, but officials decided not to require mandatory testing. Communities across the country are battling drug dealers who have taken over their streets, but a shooting in Oakland, California has neighbors bitterly divided over how far to take that fight. Bill Whitaker has the story.
It's calm now on the 500 block of 59th Street in Oakland, but that's fairly new. Until recently, it's been a place to drive up and buy crack cocaine. When Patrick McCullough saw drug dealing, he'd always call the cops. Then in February, a bunch of young men threatened him outside his home, one calling him a snitch.
And I hear him very clearly say, "Give me the pistol, let me have the pistol." And as soon as he put his hand on it, that's when I leveled my pistol and shot him.
16-year-old Melvin McHenry's still recovering. His mother says McCullough's not telling the truth.
You know, he shot an innocent kid. Wasn't no gun involved. Wasn't no drugs involved. No one called him any names.
McCullough wasn't charged. In fact, he's been hailed as a hero by Oakland police.
This is just a real decent guy with a great family, just trying to take a stand in his neighborhood.
And even the mayor.
From what the police say, he's done what any conscientious citizen would be inclined to do.
But this gentrifying neighborhood's been split in two, and some old-timers vilify McCullough as a vigilante.
To pull a gun on a child? No. I don't care what they did.
Even before the shooting, other residents on the block were taking matters in their own hands by videotaping alleged drug dealing and pressuring landlords and the city to clean up the block.
The drug dealing was occurring in
They hired a lawyer who says the courts and neighborhood activism are the way to get results.
As we sit here today, that area is incredibly drug-free. You know, there's really, I mean, you'd have to be very hard-pressed to find a drug dealer.
Safer, too, with beefed-up patrols since the shooting. But that's not enough for Melvin McHenry's mother.
I'm moving. I can't be on the same street as this man passing by my house. Now he has a gun in his hand, and he feels that he shot one kid, he can get off shooting another.
For now, the McCulloughs are staying put, even though police have urged them to move.
In my opinion, he's a marked man. Sooner or later, somebody's going to take some action against him. It's just a matter of time.
But Patrick McCullough says he's got all the time in the world.
You know, I'm not going to be declaring war on anybody. I'm just basically declaring my right to self-defense.
Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Former U.S. Congressman Peter Rodino, who led the House impeachment investigation of President Richard Nixon, died today. The New Jersey Democrat served 20 terms and was chairman of the Judiciary Committee. Peter Rodino was 95 years old. Just ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, an American on a mission to help the people of a faraway land.
When I turned 30, my metabolism slowed down. So now I eat smarter, exercise more, and I found One-A-Day Weight Smart.
One-A-Day Weight Smart, the first multivitamin with EGCG to enhance your metabolism to help while you manage your weight.
Now that's smart.
One-A-Day Weight Smart.
There will be some swelling and discomfort, but it won't hurt a bit.
Now with new Olay Regenerist Continuous Night Recovery, you can rest easy. It works during the night to increase surface cell renewal by 50% for an Olay mini lift every morning. Wake up to Olay Regenerist Night. Love the skin you're in.
Hi, Jay Bush here at one of Boston's famous universities to introduce Bush's new Boston Recipe Baked Beans. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
They're slow cooked according to our secret family recipe with a touch of brown sugar, a blend of spices, and rich molasses for an authentic Boston taste.
I've only shared our secret family recipe with Duke, and he's trustworthy.
Welcome to Secret Family Recipe Revealed 101.
Duke!
Uh-oh, class dismissed.
Try Bush's new Boston Recipe Baked Beans.
It was a disaster. We never thought this would happen to us.
Most people become aware of their septic system when they have a problem.
It was like a greenish, brownish liquid. It was backing up into the tub. I was worried about germs and my daughter. It was disgusting.
Rid-X uses 100% natural bacteria and enzymes to break down waste and help prevent backups.
It absolutely makes sense to use Rid-X once a month.
We used to flush and pray. Now we use Rid-X.
I'd like to redeem my credit card miles to Miami.
No, blacked out.
Ooh,
You sound strong.
please?
No.
Just for me.
Okay.
The answer's always no.
Go from no to no hassle with Capital One No Hassle Rewards. There are no blackout dates on any airline, anytime.
Should have worked at Capital One. What's in your wallet?
I have diabetes. I test a lot. I deal with the pain. But since I switched to Freestyle Flash, which uses the smallest drop of blood, it's virtually pain-free. Boy, can I deal with that.
Freestyle Flash, virtually pain-free.
CBS Monday, a killer high school reunion. Then the search for Horatio's brother continues.
What are we going to do?
Everything we can. A new CSI Miami, Monday.
UN Secretary General Kofi Annan called this week for a larger African Union peacekeeping role in the Darfur region of Sudan. He also said the UN would be able to offer only limited help. One American is not waiting for others to help ease the humanitarian crisis there. Vaya Assuras tells us his story on tonight's Weekend Journal.
What I've seen definitely constitutes genocide.
Brian Steidel is haunted by what he saw in Africa, especially one little girl.
She'd been shot in the back. You know, I just remember her mother holding her up to me as she thought that I was a doctor. I was a white male there to see her, and, you know, just holding her up to me, and all I was able to do was take a photograph and write a report.
A former Marine, Steidl spent 6 months as a military observer with the African Union in the violence-plagued Darfur region of Sudan. Aid organizations estimate up to 140,000 people have been killed and nearly 2 million displaced over 2 years of civil conflict.
And when we got there, sometimes the fighting was still ongoing.
Unarmed, Steidl relied only on a pen and a camera to document horrors, what many in this country call genocide.
People who had been burnt alive in their huts, looking at a 6-year-old child who'd just been raped, having her mom explain to us what had happened to her.
Wow, there's nothing left
There's
there.
nothing left. They burn everything.
The attacks on black Africans are blamed on an Arab militia known as the Janjaweed, some of whom Steidl encountered close up.
It was like looking into the devil's eyes. There's no life. It was like looking into a black hole. I don't believe they're of this world.
Steidl says the Janjaweed are backed by the Sudanese government, providing them with uniforms, weapons, and even government troops. Have you seen Janjaweed and Sudan government forces working together?
Yes.
Driving together?
Yes.
Shooting together?
Yes. Side by side. I mean, for us on the ground, it was as if the Janjaweed was just a different unit. They were the same.
The Sudanese ambassador to the United States denies the allegations.
Are you suggesting that the Sudanese government forces and the militia are not killing people in Darfur?
They are not at least targeting civilian people to kill.
For example, this one.
When we showed Ambassador Ahmed some of Steidl's photographs, he was dismissive and blamed the violence on groups trying to overthrow the Sudanese government.
If he showed it to any Sudanese, he will find out that this is a fake. He never said a word about the atrocities committed by the rebel group, which is raised a lot of questions about his credibility.
But Steidl is taking his case to Congress and Britain's House of Commons. His goal, to force the international community to take action against Sudan.
People said that after Rwanda, when at least 500,000, if not more, people were massacred. Never again. Well, it's happening again.
It is.
So where's the American public?
I don't know. I'm trying to find them.
And he's convinced America will respond. Thalia Ashuris, CBS News, Washington.
Coming up next on tonight's CBS Evening News, the horse who's giving the Yankees a run for their money.
Hello? Remember me? I'm Digger, the dermatophyte, your nail infection. You may have tried to get me with these over-the-counter surface treatments, but I live deep under your nails. I made myself at home down here, and I'm not leaving. I may even spread out the other nails. I mean, would you look at this view?
If you have thick, discolored, or flaky nails, over-the-counter surface treatments might not reach the infection. That's why you should ask your doctor about prescription-only Lamisil tablets. Unlike surface treatments, Lamisil is a pill that works through the bloodstream to target and attack the infection at its source, under the nail. In fact, you may start to see clearer, healthier nails in just 3 months. Lamisil isn't for people with liver or kidney problems. In rare cases, serious side effects in the liver or serious skin reactions have occurred, so your doctor may do a simple blood test. Other side effects, including headache, diarrhea, indigestion, and rash, were generally mild. Ask your doctor about Lamisil. It could be your solution. Once daily Lamisil tablets. Get your nail infection where it grows.
Tired of always having to change the roll? Try new Charmin Mega Roll. It's 4 times the sheets in one. And it comes with the new Charmin Extender, so it fits. Mega Roll.
Why is Ortho Season-Long Grass and Weed Killer better than the leading brand? Because it doesn't just kill existing weeds. It prevents new weeds from growing all season long. So you don't spend the entire season killing weeds. Ortho Season-Long.
Nearly every minute, a woman dies from a heart attack or a stroke. If your doctor says you're at risk, Bayer Women's Plus Calcium can significantly reduce your risk. Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen. The more you know, the more you trust Bayer.
Hey, Angie. Going to the post office?
Post office? Angie, post office, 3 seconds.
No matter how many packages you need to send, you don't have to go to the post office. Just log on to USPS.com. Pay postage, get insurance, print labels, and we'll pick them up for free.
I'm at the post office.
Just one more way the U.S. Postal Service is working for you.
When Walter got hurt on the job, he was out of work for almost a year.
We would have lost this house if it hadn't been for the disability insurance.
It's insurance that he didn't think that we needed.
Mutual of Omaha.
She always brings that up.
Begin today.
Well, it's one for the morning, two for the show.
I wanted to record something for my mom's birthday.
Who do you sound like?
I don't sound like nobody, man.
Finally this evening, the high-priced New York Yankees have been stumbling and bumbling their way through their worst season in decades. But so far, owner George Steinbrenner has generally held his temper. As we hear from Alexis Christoforous, he's been too busy trying to add racing's Triple Crown to his World Series trophies.
The 1-1.
If you haven't been keeping score, the New York Yankees baseball season has been a comedy of errors.
The thing about playing baseball is to win, and we haven't won.
After its worst start since 1966, the most expensive ball club ever has one of the worst records in the league, right along with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, which has the lowest payroll in baseball.
No pitching, no hitting, no defense. What to do here?
It's Armageddon for the pinstripe faithful, glory days for Yankee haters.
If you were going to blame anyone, you would probably want to blame the boss, but bosses don't blame themselves.
And lately, the boss, George Steinbrenner, has been distracted by this prospect from a different farm system.
Dazzling 3-year-old Bellamy Road. He's turning the Wood Memorial into an absolute runaway.
The success of Steinbrenner's horse, which won its last race by 17 lengths, has been as surprising as the Yankee headaches, especially when you consider he bought Bellamy Road for a pittance by racehorse standards, just $87,000. Compare that to the stable of Yankee stars that's costing Steinbrenner over $200 million.
Do you think that Steinbrenner's about to explode here with his Yankees in last place?
I think he's already exploded, but he's keeping calm because of his horse running today.
And they're off! And run he did at today's Kentucky Derby. But Steinbrenner's luck was no better at the track. The race favorite came up short, losing the first leg of the Triple Crown, leaving some to wonder who may get the axe first, a Yankee coach or the horse.
And I think the options would be Central Park or Elmer's Glue. And he puts it away.
The odds may be better for Steinbrenner's Yankees, which still have 80% of the season ahead of them.
October's still a long ways away.
Or as one Yankee Hall of Famer put it ain't over till it's over. Alexis Christoforous, CBS News, New York.
And in the Derby, and a major surprise, 50-1 long shot Giacomo came from behind to win the Derby in a close finish. Bellamy Road finished out of the money. And that's the CBS Evening News. Later tonight, 48 Hours Mystery.
Bill Flint survived not one, but 2 murder attempts.
He was shot twice. He was bludgeoned.
Then he died of a heart attack at 44. Or did he?
I think that he was murdered.
A 48 Hours Mystery tonight.
Tomorrow and Sunday morning, director Ridley Scott on his new film, Kingdom of Heaven. Thanks for joining us this Saturday evening. I'm Russ Mitchell, CBS News in New York. Have a great Mother's Day. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, click on CBSNews.com. Brought to you in part by Walmart, bringing your community jobs, low prices, and support for neighborhood programs. Experience CBS News.
Life is a journey. Live it well. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive.
To celebrate spring in the Northwest, your Ford store wants you to save big time on a limited edition F-150 STX Super Cab 4x4. For a limited time, get the features you want at no extra charge. With cash back and package savings, you save over $4,000. Or take advantage of our sign and drive lease for just $299 a month with 0 down. Only your first month payment, tax, title, and license fees are due at signing. It's your chance to save on a loaded F-150 SDX Super Cab 4x4, equipped just for the Northwest. Built for the Northwest, built for tough.